Happy NFL Week 8, everyone. Winning in the shadows. Andy, Jim, and Corbin break down all of the props in all of the different categories. We'll go over some parlay pieces, some alternate plays. Jim will go over his sack props after Corbin goes 3-0 last week in sack props of all things. So hats off to you, Corbin. That was an
Thank
amazing
you.
job.
Very
Absolutely
impressive.
amazing job. So, all right, let's no time to waste. Let's get into it. Let's see. Corbin, would you like to pick a 4-letter word, or would you like me to have our friend the 4-letter word generator?
We'll go with the generator.
All right, just tell me to stop. Tell me
It
to
can't
stop.
be Lord after. Stop.
Host. There's a good one. All right, hit the like button and leave a comment. Tell us your best bet for the for week 8. If you don't have a hot take for week 8, just type the word host in the comment section. Helps the algorithm out, helps us out. So much appreciated. Real quick on the weather, the only one that looks like it's going to have an effect is Buffalo and Seattle. It says periodic bands of heavy rain will push through. At times, the game will rain. At times, it'll be dry. Winds will pick up as the bands move forward, sustain 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. I will say it's the day before, and they only have the yellow designation, which is not terrible. So I'm thinking that they're not too concerned it's going to be that big of an issue. So, but that seems to be about the only one where we'll have some issues. So, all right, guys, let's get started here with passing props. Titans and the Lions. Corbin, any hot takes on the Titans and Lions here? Jared Goff, Mason Rudolph?
Yeah, I can't go with Goff just because I think it's going to be a huge blowout. But I will go with Rudolph's pass attempts. I was looking earlier, I think it was 32.5. We know the Lions are good versus the run, so if that takes away Pollard, then they really don't have much else to kind of hope for. Obviously, no Hopkins anymore. They're kind of on a dumpster sale. Who knows where they're going, but they're going down basically. He had 40 last week versus the Bills, and they were down big in that game. I think 32.5 is quite a low number on a team that I expect to be behind early and quite big. So,
What's the level on a scale 1 to 10 depression for Calvin Ridley?
-10.
Just watched DeAndre Hopkins leave. Mason Rudolph's throwing him the ball. I mean, oh god.
You had to know going to that organization that the quarterback play wasn't going to light the world on fire.
True. I like that attempt, Corbin. I did not even think about that one. That is I love that play. That's really good. Because you're right. Tony Pollard's not going to have much success. They're going to be able to take that away. Jim, you got any take on the quarterbacks for Titans Lions?
Same game script as Corbin says. I'll take Rudolph to throw an interception at -155. It's borderline. It's playable. I think it happens. I don't think they're going to turn to Levis if Rudolph is having a bad game here or whoever else is back there. You know, whether Levis is really injured or not, or he's active or not, I think it's Rudolph's show.
All right, let's move on to the Ravens and the Browns.
Yes.
Jameis Winston's passing yards is higher than Lamar Jackson's. Holy, what in the world is going on here, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you would have told me who's going to have more passing yards, Lamar or Winston, I would have been like Lamar, right? Right?
Well, you have the Rashad Bateman injury. So
you mean Zay Flowers?
Or Zay Flowers. So Rashad Bateman is going to be the guy.
Okay.
It does take away a weapon. Look, this is the Browns with Nick Chubb and Jameis Winston. This is a different team, guys. This game has trap game written all over it for me. I am not saying that I'll be putting money on Cleveland money line, but I think Winston lets the ball fly. I really do. If they can't run, why not? They're just going to go for it. And, you know, if my theory is correct, that Stefanski really did not want Deshaun Watson and wanted to change him, and it was the owner's decision not to, then I think he's going to be a little excited to prove that he was right. You know, send out Winston and let him rip.
Fair enough. I mean, Corbin, the reason why that is because of Ravens are like the top 2 rush defense and a bottom 5 pass defense. I guess that's it. Do you want any of these props, though?
See, Jim just said Winston letting it go. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that?
Where's that interception?
It is juicy. It's -220.
-220.
But
don't care.
I'm still going to play it.
Yeah.
I'll put it with something. If he's going to let it go at all, which
Mhm.
I think he is. You mentioned the Ravens have the good rush defense. Chubb had, I think it was 11 carries last week and did like nothing with it, unfortunately for me. But I think they're going to have huge issues running the ball. I think he's going to start throwing it. I would love to know what 1.5 interceptions is, because I think he could quite easily throw 2 or 3 this game, quite honestly. So yeah, I will be playing the minus 220 with something.
It's a great point, because if you don't bet this before the game and you watch the game, this number is going to plummet every time he doesn't throw an interception. So you might be able to get this at minus 150 if you trust Jameis to get out of 2 drives without an
I
interception.
don't.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the last time Jameis started was in 2023, and he threw 2.
Yeah.
I mean, just so it's an interesting way to look at it. I think there's much better plays on the board. I will happily pass on this one. Packers and the Jaguars. I will just tell you right now, Corbin, I love what your Packers pass defense has been doing the last few weeks. I will take Trevor Lawrence under 1.5 touchdown passes.
Mhm.
Last 3 quarterbacks against your Packers have only thrown 1 each game. And I watched that last week because I had CJ Stroud to just throw one of them, and they just put the quarterback under so much pressure. And it was like, we understand we're going to give up rushing yards. Like, we get that. But when you get in close, we're going to really tighten down, and we're going to put your quarterback under pressure whenever he drops back. This is not exactly a quarterback that deals with pressure well. This isn't a team that deals with pressure well. I like what I've seen the last 3 weeks from the Packers pass defense. So I want to fade Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to do it with under 1.5 touchdowns. What do you think, Corbin?
I agree completely. I just went the other way. I went Trevor Lawrence under his passing yards completely. I think it's 237. He's cleared this in 1 game.
That seems high.
And guess which team that was against? It was against the Colts.
Colts.
Yes. The one week that I took Trevor Lawrence to have an over was that week. You mentioned it. We have a bad rush defense, so I think they're gonna run the ball more. I think we're gonna take away any kind of passing game. Not that they have much to take away. The one main concern I have is the fact that I expect them to be down quite significantly. I think we're gonna have a field day versus them. So I was looking under. FanDuel actually has first quarter props. His passing total for the first quarter is 47.5. It seems awfully high. I think they're going to start off running the ball. I don't see him getting to that kind of total in the first quarter. So I kind of like that approach.
Yeah. I don't know. Jim, you mentioned you might be looking here at Jordan Love over 2.5 touchdowns. It's hard to argue that one.
It's hard to argue against this defense. This obviously means that the books have caught on to the Jacksonville secondary. We had our stretch of seeing 1.5s. Now we're crossing that bridge over to 2.5. So, but it's the Packers. So I could see it, and at plus 165. If this was like, I don't know, plus 110, there's no shot I'm betting it. But plus 165, I think, is a really good number. And I would not be shocked. It'd shock anybody to see Jacksonville give up 3 touchdowns. It's the worst secondary in the league.
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
It's a chance for Love to really go in there, let it fly again. And these receivers are on the same page with him. Tucker Kraft has turned into a real weapon. And I think that helps down in the red zone. What are they going to run Josh Jacobs into the strength of the defense for 3 times? No, they're going to throw one to the end zone there during the goal line.
I will say you could. Oh,
go ahead, Corbin.
I was going to say you could get Love just to throw 2 as a that was a parlay piece I was looking at, minus 220. I think it is just to throw 2. I could quite easily put that and the Winston interception as an example.
That's
of
a great call.
Could
yeah,
put both of those together, because I think he easily gets the 2. The 2.5. I'm not a fan of the 2.5s on passing touchdowns, but I could quite easily see the 2 for Jordan. So.
I had to drop somebody in my fantasy league, and I had 2 tight ends. I had Tucker Kraft and Sam Laporta.
See you, Sam.
I dropped Sam Laporta.
And I bet he got picked up right away.
No. Corbin, he's like the number 20 tight end. He's worthless.
I know.
And that's with that. He has a 52-yard touchdown catch on his thing today. So I'm with you. All right, Colts and Texans. For what it's worth, so CJ Stroud's played well against the Colts. This no Nico Collins thing seems like it's really, really bothering him.
Yeah.
On paper, you look at this and you go, "Oh, CJ Stroud should have a field day." He just hasn't looked right with Nico Collins, so I'm not betting against him. I'm just saying I would temper expectations. It's not a good defense, but 240.5 feels like a lot. 2 passing touchdowns feels like a lot. Anthony Richardson under 188.5 absolutely has my attention because Jonathan Taylor's back and Anthony Richardson cannot complete a pass to save his life. I was looking at completions here for Anthony Richardson, and it's 16.5. God, that sounds ambitious. He had 10 last week. So I think Anthony Richardson under would be the way to go. But Corbin, I'll see if you like anything in this one. But my big thing is just don't go all in on CJ Stroud with the great matchup. Something's not right without Nico Collins there.
Everything you said is exactly what I was going to say. I have
Nice.
Richardson under his completions written down. You mentioned it, Taylor back, playing a divisional game. I don't see how he gets over this total. And then exactly, you nailed Stroud. I think he does have a good game, but it's not worth the risk considering what we've seen without Nico Collins. It's just not the week to do it. So he misses him greatly.
Jim?
I don't like anything in this game.
Perfect.
Excuse me. Passing. Yeah, move on.
We're
Speaking
recording
of a
this.
game I want nothing to do with.
Yeah, we're recording this early Saturday morning, and Jim and I pretty much have the same weather, which means we both have allergies.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. If we would record this at 1 p.m, we would both sound way better. So apologize.
If I sound like a horror movie, just
like Darth
what
Vader
are your props, Andy?
Darth Vader has an easier time breathing this morning than I do. Jets and the Patriots, Jim. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets here?
Oh, I love Drake May over 206.5 passing.
You brought up a good point about injuries in the secondary.
We are destroyed.
Okay.
Destroyed. I don't know who's playing or not, but whoever's playing is not healthy.
Okay.
That's the sentiment around the organization right now. Michael Carter had an ankle injury in preseason, and they flat out said he's going to be dealing with it all year. He's going to be in and out of the lineup. That's their number one slot receiver, cornerback. Sauce Gardner has taken some bad hits this year. He's been on and off the field throughout the games. He's gutting it out, but he doesn't look healthy, in my opinion. I really don't think so. We could be down both our starting safeties and a backup. It's just the list goes on and on and on. DJ Reed is coming off an injury as well. So now we're looking at a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th guy on a depth chart in a secondary on 3rd down. Ashton Davis, a backup safety, has a concussion. I think Drake May could very easily go over this 206. I think it's going to be in a losing effort. I want no part of Aaron Rodgers at 238.5. His knees, ankles, hip. What are we up to now? Wait, hamstring, knee, ankle, and hip. I think we've had over the past 3 weeks. Sounds like a retirement home medical rehab schedule. And this man is our quarterback. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him one hit take him out of the game at this point.
I agree.
I don't think he's healthy.
I agree 100% with Drake May. Corbin, you don't want anything with.
I want nothing to do with this game or the Jets ever again this season. I am after Devontae Adams had what was it 3 catches. No, just
but 7 targets, Corbin. 7 targets.
He went over his locker room speeches showing what a leader he is. That was over half, and the over his.
Only half, not 1.5. Jesus.
No, just half of inspirational locker room speech.
Well, bet.
Corbin, I know your same game parlay is in this game, so I'll go to Jim. Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. You're not a big Jalen Hurts guy, are you, Jim?
Something's up. Something's up with this team. Something's up with Jalen Hurts. He can throw the deep ball to anybody. It's great when you have fantastic receivers, but when it comes to playing the position of quarterback in the NFL, I don't see it. I just don't see it. He's turned into an athlete. Just doing everything except reading defenses properly, putting the ball on the correct shoulder. I know the Cincinnati Bengals defense is not good. But man, we've just seen what, 2, 3, 4 bonehead plays from Jalen Hurts a game at this point.
Yeah,
So
it's
they very
accurate.
easily could result in turnovers. I'd be interested in Joe Burrow. It's a little steep, the touchdowns.
Okay.
165 is right, a little steep on that. I just don't believe in this Philly secondary either. I think they run lost, and this is quite a challenge coming in with this receiving core.
Yeah, I have nothing really more to add. I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan, and I just there's something. You're right. There's something weird about the team. Like a guy like that shouldn't be regressing. He's too smart. He's played at the best colleges, played at the best level. Like a guy like that regressing to me screams there's something in the coaching staff and him that is just not working out. So, yeah, I can't get to the window on that. And Corbin will go over a same game parlay in that one. Falcons and Buccaneers. Darn it, our cash cow on Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdowns has come to an end. Or has it? I mean, no Evans, no Godwin. Can you go back to it, Corbin, at plus 130, or does these lack of weapons terrify you?
I think he could go over. Am I going to go back to it? No. I mean, I'm. We'll get to it in the receiving props more, but yeah, I think I feel like he's going to have to be throwing the ball. I feel like they're going to be down. I'm more interested in Cousins this week. So
yeah, what do you like about Cousins?
Well, I've got him in an alt play coming up, but I like him over his 244 passing as well. The only problem is I think there could be a blowout here because just who is Baker really throwing to? His big game of the year, Cousins, was against them when he threw for 500 plus. He's had a rough couple of weeks, Cousins, and I feel like this is just one of those get right spots where it's just the perfect situation. And even if they're up, I could see them still letting him throw the ball because just to get him in rhythm and build up his confidence again from the last time he slaughtered them. So,
Jim, what's your take on Falcons and Buccaneers? My stat is if you're looking at touchdown pass parlays, Kirk Cousins has thrown a touchdown in 62 out of his last 64 games. That's pretty amazing. That's Hall of Fame type of streak right there. What do you think about Baker and Kirk Cousins?
I don't think anything changes as far as the 2 touchdowns go. What, you telling me they're going to become a power running team
with Bucky Irving out?
This is prime overreaction territory where it's, oh no, the Bucs are done, the Bucs are this, the Bucs are that. They have players on that team that can catch the ball. So if they have players that can catch the ball, Baker's going to continue to throw it. So I think this is a discount steal. I will be playing this probably with my own money.
I love
Baker
this.
Mayfield over 1.5 touchdowns at plus 130. When have we had plus 130 on Baker all season?
There's going to be some nice receiving props in this game.
I can't wait for this game to go. Yeah,
so.
That's one of my favorite betting games of the week is Tampa and Atlanta.
All right, let's move to Cardinals, the return of Tua. Cardinals, Dolphins. Corbin, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about the receivers for the Dolphins. Do you have any takes on the quarterbacks? We don't even have like passing yards for Tua.
I don't. It's one of those. I feel like I think he's going to come back and he's going to look pretty good, quite honestly. We'll get to it in the receivers, but I feel like they've already factored in that he's going to have a good game. The numbers are all kind of expecting him to hit the ground running and be exactly back. That you're not like I always talk about it. I love getting these players at low totals when they come back from injuries, and I don't see any low totals on Tua. It's as if he's played every week so far.
Yeah. Okay. So. Jim, you got anything on Kyler?
No, I'm interested in Tua's attempts or completions.
Oh, okay.
I think if they're big, it's going to be A-Chain and whoever else they got running the ball.
Yeah,
protect Tua. Why would you put him at risk his first game back?
Yeah, at the time we're recording this, we don't have those out. So,
yeah.
All right.
I'll be waiting for that.
Yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat that gets upset that we don't put this up earlier. Sorry, we're trying to wait for injury reports.
I like this, but I don't know what it costs. There you go, guys.
Yeah. So this is what you get. Now we're recording early, and now the damn props aren't up.
Can't win.
Geno Smith and Josh Allen The only game with maybe a touch of weather in there, but I always think people overreact to the weather big time. The reason is because if it's raining, it's also raining on the defense, Jim. Little known fact. What do you think about these passing props here for Bills and Seahawks?
I want to attack the run game.
Okay.
I want nothing to do with the passing props in this game.
Corbin?
Weirdly enough, I agree with Jim.
Right.
I think both teams are going to be running the ball here. So
Saints and Chargers, Herbert Rattler. I almost like the Herbert under just because the Saints rush defense is so horrendous. The last 3 games, they are averaging 210 yards per game on the ground, giving up. Like, if you're like Justin Herbert, like, take the day off, man. we don't need you to throw for that much. So weirdly, I kind of like Herbert under just because I think this is a massive running day. Spencer Rattler's only at 179. Corbin, you like either of these guys?
see, you actually kind of just interested me in the Herbert. I was looking at obviously everyone goes to look at the rushing props for the Chargers, and like the numbers are astronomically high still, and it's like everyone is expecting the Chargers to run the ball here, but I feel like 202 passing yards? That's still like a reasonable level. That's a way that you can almost attack the rushing side of it, but in a different way that not necessarily the books have factored in. I quite like that, but I don't want anything to do with Rattler.
You're saying by going under?
Yes,
Under,
yes,
under.
yeah. Herbert to go under because I'm expecting them to run the ball, but I can't take any of the rushing props because they're all quite high, is what
I got you.
trying to say.
Chiefs and the Raiders, Jim. Gardner Minshew, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is another guy that's been dropped. I'm in one league that's got deep rosters. He's rostered in that. Patrick Mahomes is on the waiver wire. I have Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott, and I don't want to drop either of them for Patrick Mahomes. What a world we live in that Patrick Mahomes isn't even rostered in fantasy leagues. Wild. What do you want to do with these quarterback props? Anything?
I want to take both players to throw an interception.
Mahomes is.
That's where I would be looking at this point. I can't ignore what's going on with Mahomes at this point. I don't think we really can. It's not a phase. I think it's just this offense. Every week he talks about trying to do too much. There is a lot of drama behind this game with the whole Kermit the Frog thing and smoking cigars in the locker room after they beat him, and now supposedly we're going to get the pissed off Mahomes. Well, the aggressive pissed off Mahomes this year has thrown the ball to the other team.
Every game. It's a hit in every single game.
Gardner Minshew, he's good for 2. Okay. Here's do we have anybody? Is there a chance that Desmond Ridder gets in if Minshew has a bad game, or are they?
No,
they're stuck with Minshew for this game.
Desmond Ridder was sobbing in a press conference that he just got signed to a team. There's a guy who was starting for the Falcons. Now he's in tears that he made the roster for the Raiders.
So if we're gonna get Minshew the whole game, and we're going to get Mahomes trying to make a statement, I think you could play both of these guys. You split a unit on both of them. You get plus money on one side. If you hit both, you're thrilled.
Yeah. Corbin, you like either of these guys?
No, I can't do it. I don't want anything.
Well, let's go to 2 guys you do have interest in, and that's the Bo Nix, Bryce Young. 157 is the passing yards.
Crazy.
That's a half for Jordan Love. That's like the first half total.
That's what Rashad Bateman had by himself.
All right, Corbin, Bo Nix, Bryce Young. I will say this. Yeah, I'm pretty interested in Bo Nix over 201. This Panthers defense can't stop anything. And like if you're looking at Bo Nix, shaky, he's played okay. He's played some tough defenses, but like, what a great time to like give him the ultimate confidence. Like, here, Bo, light it up against Carolina. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's something about that Bo Nix is going to have a really nice game. Like, this just screams Sean Payton builds up the confidence in him. At plus 140, I kind of like the over 1.5 touchdown passes. Corbin, am I crazy? You think I'm crazy?
Yeah. Just they're gonna be up so much. They're just gonna protect him. They're just gonna be running the ball.
But how are they going to be up so much? By Bo Nix.
by still running through them. I mean, he might have a good game, but I don't want to take him to go over any of these totals, and I certainly don't want anything with Bryce Young. I don't even know if they're going to trust him to throw the ball at all, even if they're down. They might just keep just running it, even if they're down. Just what's the point?
All right, that's a good
I gotta
take by
agree with-
Corbin. What's the point?
I'm going to jump in real quick. I got to agree with Andy on this. Bo Nix has thrown for 2 touchdowns this year, and he's playing the Panthers now. So if he can do it against any other team at plus 140, I think he can do it against the Panthers. If he's going to do it 2-3 times a year, this is one of the teams that he's going to do it against.
Bears and the Commanders. We don't know the Commanders' quarterback situation. It's probably going to be right up against the clock there, game time. So, but you could talk me into Caleb Williams over 231.5. He's definitely got his confidence. He settled in the offense. This is a Commanders secondary that's not very good. They on paper they look great because they were playing the aforementioned Panthers last week. I probably won't bet it, but that seems a little low against the Commanders. Little bit low. Corbin, you want anything with Caleb?
See, I don't feel like you can do anything in this game until you know who's quarterback for the Commanders. It's going to change so much on both sides of the ball for both teams. It like changes the game scripts completely for me. So
Okay.
yeah, I can't touch anything in this game until I know who's at quarterback.
Can I give the Commanders an actual compliment? This is a Washington team that hasn't deserved a compliment in 30 years.
Go for it.
Nice signing to pick up Marcus Mariota as your backup quarterback. Competent backup behind Jane Daniels. How many teams in the NFL have completely botched their backup quarterback situation? Your team, your team, Jim. Yeah. The Colts. We went out and got Flacco, who's better than the starter.
I will say, if Mario is playing, I could quite easily be tempted into some overs. I watched the game quite closely last week. I thought he had a good game when he came in.
He's a competent quarterback.
I reckon if he does play, I think we could see some low totals on him, and I could see some good over potential. It's kind of hard to say because there's no numbers and no idea, but it's definitely one I will look at when it comes out. So.
Cowboys, Jim.
What's the longest pass for Caleb against his secondary?
Let's see. Longest completion is going
to I wanted to bring this up against Washington. With the playmakers that he's got, I think that I'd say it's lined right. You think it's a little low or high? What do you guys think?
About right. It's about right.
About right?
It's slightly high for me. But
I just think with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, we've seen him kind of go off over the middle that I want to start looking at Daniels' longest pass going forward.
Sunday night.
You mean Williams' longest pass.
Williams. Sorry. Thank you, Corbin.
Cowboys and 49ers, Purdy and Prescott. Corbin, you want anything with these guys?
Again, not really. It's kind of hard because Cowboys have looked so bad this year, and they're away from home. We know that Dak doesn't do well away from home normally. Maybe Dak to throw an interception. Don't know what that price is, but that's probably the only quarterback related prop that I could think of. So
Jim,
I think you could again take both of them. Purdy without his weapons has been having to do a lot more. He's been turning the ball over. It happens. It happens when you lose all your weapons.
I mean, Juwan Jennings is officially out. I got notification he's ruled out. So Ayuk out. You're right. Cupboard starting to get a little bare there.
Yeah, they're going to start forcing the ball, and hey, like Corbin said, taking Dak to throw an interception is always a profitable venture.
All right, let's move on to rushing props real quick. Just want to let you guys know. Let's see, we got our NFL play. We were 7-2 the last 3 weeks in NFL plays. So go ahead and grab the week 8 pat, looking to make it 4 straight profitable weeks in NFL plays. If you have not joined the Discord, go ahead and do that. A lot of good free plays, a lot of good discussion. Someone reached out on YouTube, and we're going to do a consultation call on Monday. That's something that we offer. So if you're interested in taking the business to the next level, your bankroll is your business, and we can help out. So I offer any kind of consultation calls if you guys are interested. So leave me a comment down in the comment section if you're interested in that. No charge for the no charge for the call, obviously. So this week we're 4-2 plus 3.4 units, and looking to have a really, really big weekend. Let's move on to the rushing props here, Jim. We will start with Titans and Lions. I like that Tony Pollard under 58.5. That seems pretty ambitious. Corbin, you're smiling. You agree?
Yes. I already mentioned it. I think they're going to have huge issues running the ball. I think the Lions are going to be up 2, 3, 4 scores. Quite honestly, I think it's going to be so easy for them. I don't see the game script helping Pollard. I don't even if they're ahead, I don't see him going over this total. Everything just leads to an under on Pollard for me, especially at
Jim?
this number.
Give me the Detroit running game all week and twice on Sunday.
Both of them?
As in literally take both of them. I know Montgomery he's coming back from being a little tweaked. I thought it was interesting. They lined the Gibbs line high. I think that's pretty on par with what we're thinking here, is that Montgomery's not going to get the lion's share of the carries. These guys should run through the Titans like a hot knife through butter. And give me the under on Jared Goff. Yes. I don't think he's going to have to run it all.
No.
At all.
No.
They're going to pound the ball. The receivers are going to be wide open. They're not going to generate pressure where he's got to take off. And we could get kneel downs at the end of the game.
Do we dare go back to it, guys? Do we dare?
I don't want to. We were 1-0 in those. I don't know if you go back to the Kirk Cousins same game parlay. I think you just ride off into the sunset with the epic call.
I kind of want to look it up just to see what the price would be.
Ravens and Browns. I don't trust this Nick Chubb line. Come on, 48.5 against one of the best running. I don't know, Corbin.
No, I was on Chubb last week against a way easier matchup, and he got the volume of carries that I was expecting, but the yards just wasn't there. I didn't get to watch the game, so I don't know if it was a case of his speed not being there or like what part of it, but having 11 carries and only getting 20-something yards, I don't see it suddenly how we get a better rush defense and over double the total. I
watched some of his plays. He's predictably not like. Mm-hmm. I will just say this. I don't think he's ever going to be what he was before the injury, because what he was before the injury was one of the best running backs in the league. He's just doesn't have that same explosion. That being said, like by the time he got to the line of scrimmage, the defense was already ready to make a tackle. So It was kind of a combination, and I think this is just a nightmare matchup for him. So it was, to answer your question, like Corbin, it was a little bit of both. I'm not sure a healthy Nick Chubb would have been able to do a whole lot, like with the blocking from last week, but it just kind of sets up for an under this week, in my opinion.
I will say quickly, I did just look up the Goff to have under half a yard rushing and to go over 1.5 attempts is only plus 250.
They're on to us. Oh,
compared to the plus 700 or whatever.
Yeah,
600-700 we had on the Cousins. So,
Jim, you like any rushing props?
No, I think all the numbers are. If anything, I would take the under on Chubb. But other than that, I think all the numbers are right where they need to be.
Packers and Jags. We just don't know, I guess, what's going on with the Jags running backs here, Corbin. Anything you want to do with these guys that are listed?
No. Yeah. All the totals are kind of in the right place. I've been quite liking the Love rushing yards, but again, I don't think this game is competitive, so I don't think he's going to need to do anything. And then I can't even take a running back against us at the minute this week, so nothing.
We'll move to the Colts and the Texans. Jonathan Taylor's back. Joe Mixon, man, 77.5. This again is just kind of leading me to believe that CJ Stroud's not going to have a massive week when they're already putting Mixon at 77.5. Jim, do you like any of these rushing numbers?
No, rushing wise, this game's a total pass for me. Even rushing, receiving, I couldn't get behind anything.
Corbin?
I quite like the Mixon at 77.5. Like, you look at his stats this year, so he had 159 in the opener versus the Colts. I think we could quite easily this is one I may look to ladder up and go 100 plus. He only had a 13 longest rush in that game as well, which I love. The fact that he can get to this kind of number without having a long carry. His other two starts, he's had 102 and 115. No Nico Collins. You we mentioned that Stroud's been having some issues. I think Mixon could easily have another 100+ rushing game. So
Jets and the Patriots. I like Brees Hall, but Jim, I'm going to take a page out of your book. I like the 108.5 rushing and receiving. I thought he looked great, and I think maybe the Devontae Adams may have helped him of all people more than anything. It kind of seemed like they got away from Braylon Allen a little bit more, and I thought we saw we saw flashes of how great he can be. The last 2 weeks he's gone over 108.5 rushing plus receiving, but he's done it. He's flipped it both ways. 1 week was a big receiving, the other week was a big rushing. I just think he's a great all-around player. So I would be interested in the over 108.5 rushing plus receiving. Jim, what do you think about running backs in this one?
You just finally realize what half the world doesn't realize about Hall is you cannot take one or the other. You have to not only predict if he's going to have a good game, but then you need to predict what it's going to be.
Yeah,
so it's really, really hard to do. To me, you always take him rushing and receiving. I've been burned on taking one or the other before, unless they're going to give you some stupid low total, like if it, 4 catches for 20 yards. Like, yes, I'm going to play that. I'm actually interested in Ramondre Stevenson in this spot. These Jets, man, they just struggle against the run, and the linebackers are not getting it done, and we're not able to shed the blocks. I know New England's offensive line is that good, but 50 yards rushing, that seems way low.
Yeah.
Way low for a power running back in New England. It's going to be chilly and breezy. Give me Stevenson to rush over 50 against our team. I don't think they can stop the run in this game very well.
Corbin, you like anything running backs in this one?
nothing in this game. Avoiding both.
Eagles and the Bengals. To me, these numbers seem about. I think they're all pretty accurate. Actually, the only one I might like a little bit more is Burrow over 11.5. He's not afraid to take off and run. And against Philly, this game could be a shootout. I could see a couple of rush attempts from him, but I don't think I'm going to get to the window on anything, Jim.
No, nothing.
Corbin?
I think it's lined very well.
Yeah,
It's really sharp. Oh, I said
it.
Corbin, any value?
No, not rushing. I'm only interested in receiving. Think it's going to be a shootout.
Falcons and the Buccaneers, they don't even have rushing props for the Buccaneers yet. It's Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier Baker 19.5. That's an interesting one. If Baker doesn't see guys getting open, he will absolutely take off and run. Jim, do you want any rushing props?
I would have the Robinson under. I think under 65. It's not the way you attack Tampa. It's just not. Okay, Baltimore, they did okay. It's Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's a totally different type of running game. This is more, I formation, zone outside reads. Baltimore is just dynamic. I think that you can throw on this Bucs secondary, and I think that you could see a Cousins night where he's going to Drake London and Kyle Pitts and everything. And we still have Vita Vea and Stein stopping the run. So I'll take an under.
Corbin?
I have nothing on that game.
All right.
Other than the Cousins.
This 19.5 on Baker's very, very intriguing to me. I'm looking at his numbers right now. 22, 29, and 42 the last 3 games.
Does he have a longest rush? I feel like when Baker takes off, he always goes for. It's not like he's rushing 3 or 4 times. It normally is kind of like
10.5. He's gone over this easily the last 3 games.
I like that as opposed to the 19.5.
You're right.
Yeah,
2nd and 10, he takes off and gets the first down. I like that one. That may make the card. That one really, really may make the card. Good call on that one. All right, let's move on, and we are going to go to the Cardinals and the Dolphins. Corbin, you like any of these guys?
Again, I don't, because I think it's so.
You like the Dolphins? Why you like playing the receivers? On the Dolphins. You have a better read on that one. Okay, Jim, Cardinals, Dolphins.
I'm not going to play it, but I would very gladly take Achane and Mostert each, because
Cardinals are pretty bad.
If Miami's up, they are not going to put Tua at risk. What are the carries?
The rush attempts?
Let's look at rush attempts.
All right. So your rush attempts in the Dolphins got A-Chain at 12.5 and Mostert at 8.5. Mostert at 8.5 is pretty.
That sounds like a lot.
If it's
No?
one of those fourth quarter, we're just going to run the ball the whole time. We're up 3 scores. We're getting out healthy. You don't
I
think
don't
they
think they're
throw
going to be up
Mostert in?
3 scores.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of games that he started, he's had 11 and 19.
Oh, okay.
So
At
that's
plus money?
yeah, that's a great look. That's a great look. I like that.
I
One.
just think we're going to see the running game. Even if they're up by, say they're up by 10.
Yeah,
Whatever they can do to limit to his exposure, they have to do it.
they could be up by 1 and not wanting to drop back. So. All right, Bills in the Seahawks. Corbin, you like any of these guys?
Oh, this one I can go on. I quite like the Ray Davis over 24.5. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about him, but he's had 41 and 97 the last 2 weeks. I am worried that Cook will come back and take his snaps, or maybe not have the amount of garbage time at the end, because I watched some of the highlights. He had a few carries towards the end of the last game. But at this total, it's kind of interesting to me. Also, kind of like Kenneth Walker over his total, had 69 last week. We know that the Bills are better versus the pass than the rush. No Metcalf this week. I think it could be a Kenneth Walker running kind of show. So they're the two that I was looking at this game.
Yeah, Ray Davis is pretty interesting because, like, if you're Buffalo, you got to be like, okay, he showed us something the last couple weeks. Like, we can't we're just not gonna like shelve him away and never hear from him again, and take away some wear and tear from James Cook. So I like where you're headed with that one, Jim. You like any of these running backs?
I agree with Corbin on Kenneth Walker. I think he easily goes over the 64.5 in Seattle.
Yeah,
at home. It screams that kind of day. No DK. Got to lean on the running game more. Bills are not good against the run.
Yeah.
James Cook rushing and receiving. I am going to look at this. Not going to bet it this week. This is the first time that we're going to have Amari Cooper, James Cook, and Shakir on the field at the same time. So
Yeah.
I want to see what this offense kind of looks like with all these guys before I do anything as far as James Cook.
Corbin, you mentioned that these numbers were just like kind of crazy. But yeah, are. Dobbins 76.5, even Vidal's 20.5.
Yeah.
I would even go back to Spencer Rattler at 22.5. That guy just takes off and runs and gets a big one. So the under, I would look at Alvin Kamara 53.5. That guy's they're just like non-existent running game. So what do you think is your favorite one in this one, Corbin?
Favorite? I don't really have a favorite. Probably the Rattler, if I had to pick, just because of what you said. He takes off so much. I was really looking for the J.K. Dobbins rush attempts, but it's like 17.5. It's just a bit high. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Kamara, the last 3 games, 10, 40, and 26 yards rushing. They just cannot get anything going here. Rush attempts, 17.5.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, they're going to get J.K. Dobbins hurt.
They are.
At those numbers. So, Jim, do you like any of these?
Are we sure that Taysom Hill is 100% back? Because
I've seen his props listed everywhere, so that tells me he's going to be back.
Half rushing yards. You're telling me with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, you're not going to have 10 plays designed for Taysom Hill?
Wow, that's a lot. Let me pull up here what they're saying.
Spencer Rattler.
It is Spencer Rattler.
I mean, this package is just, it's got to be a bigger part of the offense if Taysom Hill is healthy.
So Taysom Hill, Olave is going to return. That'll change everything. Taysom Hill, expected to play. That was yesterday. So full participants. So
yeah. So if he's full and he's back, I mean, he's going to get those goal line draws. Like you said, Kamara has not done much. They need a spark in this running game. I know it's against a great Chargers defense, but 14.5 seems extremely low to me.
Chiefs versus the Raiders. Yes, Corbin.
This is my favorite play on the board. Kareem Hunt over 65.5 rushing. He's gone over in all 3 games this year. I think the Chiefs are going to be easily ahead. The Raiders ranked 23rd versus the run, and every team has easily rushed for 100 plus versus them. This is a no-brainer for me. As I said, this is my favorite play on the board, is Hunt over his rushing. So
I agree. He looks great. Eye test, he just looks really, really sharp and
Yeah.
really good. There's not a big drop off from him to Pacheco. So I thought Madison ran the ball really good against the Rams, but this is just a different animal. So Jim, you like any of these?
I agree with you guys. I have nothing to add. Nothing.
Panthers and Broncos. I feel like Javonte Williams is the big, obvious 64.5, and then something happens and he rushes for 61 and everyone loses the over. I don't know, man. Corbin, is Javonte too obvious?
No, it's not too obvious. His total still, it's not like it's in the 70s or the 80s. It's kind of in the right place. I've got both Javonte and McLaughlin. Is that how you say it?
McLaughlin, yeah.
I think both of them are going to have a good day, particularly McLaughlin at 18.5. I mean, the Panthers' rush defense sucks. They're going to be playing from ahead. He's over in 3 of the last 4, and the one he didn't was a blowout loss. My main concern is he only got 4 carries last week, but I think both of them could go easily over this total. So,
in 2 games that Bryce Young has started, the opposition has rushed for 399 yards in those 80 plus carries. So it's just been a complete obliteration. I like that McLaughlin look. Fourth quarter, if they're up, you can see that. So
it's one of those we talk about live lines every now and then. If he's done nothing the first half, the total is just going to come down and down and down, and then suddenly it's going to be 9-10 yards, and then if you could get that going into the third, fourth quarters, you could get some good numbers there. So
Bears and the Commanders, I have nothing. I can't figure these teams running backs. I know they love Brian Robinson. That'd be the only way I would lean, but against the Bears, no, it's a complete pass for me. Jim?
DeAndre Swift rushing and receiving.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
With this Commander's secondary, it could most certainly be one of those games where we see more receiving than rushing for Swift.
Okay. Looks like the number is 81.5.
I like it. Yeah, I think that's a good number at 81.5. I would have him more in the 90s to 100 against this team. If we think that it's Mariota and the Bears end up being up, he's going to get more touches in the run game. And if we get to third down, he's just a great check down, get you 10, 12 yards back.
Corbin, you like any of these guys?
Again, I can't touch this game until I know who's quarterback. So
Cowboys and the 49ers. I've so been let down by Rico Dowdle. I was like, no, he's gonna take the job and run with it and be great. He's been terrible. This whole Cowboys team is just awful. They just suck. I want nothing to do with them. That being said, the 49ers are so banged up, I cannot figure them out. So I will happily pass on this game. Corbin?
You nailed it. I have an alt play coming up, so with one of them, so I'll leave it.
Jim?
I'm out.
All right. Let's take a look at the receiving props. Then we'll do sack props. We'll do an alt line parlay, and then the same game parlay. If you guys haven't hit the like button, don't forget. If you don't have a hot take on the game, just type the word host in the comment section. Appreciate all you guys, and don't forget to go grab the NFL Week 8 pack, 7-2 last 3 weeks in NFL plays. And we've got our best bets that are up there. So let's take a look at receiving props here. Titans and Lions, Jim.
Gibbs, 20 yards. I can most certainly see Gibbs getting 20 yards. He just gets the screen game. You'll have this outlier week where Montgomery will have 3 receptions and go for whatever. That number just seems super low if you're saying he's getting 4 receptions. Yeah. I know it's plus money, but even if he gets 3, I think he goes over that number. That number seems way low to me. Give me Gibbs at 20, over 20.5.
I'll take Sam Laporta under 3.5 receptions. Corbin, you may be 100% right. The Lions just could be up, and this is just a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type of game. Not only does Sam Laporta not have 4 catches combined in the last 2 weeks, he doesn't even have 4 targets in the last couple games. It's awful. It's awful. Sam Laporta under his receptions.
What do you think's wrong with him, Andy? I know you've mentioned it most weeks. Is it him? Is it just Goff? Is it just the running? What what do you think it is?
When you have so many weapons like that on that team, somebody's left out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Hmm.
think about it. You have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, who would easily start alone by themselves on most of the teams in the NFL. Then you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who would be a number one wide receiver on pretty much, all the
Yeah.
teams. And then you got, I could be wrong. I'm saying that Jameson Williams is suspended because he couldn't stay off the juice. But like it's just it's an embarrassment of riches that the Lions have put together. Like how many teams would have a tight end like Laporta and he's like their fifth option? Like Laporta would be the best receiver on a lot of teams right now. So I think it's just like when you're going like, well, what do we do with him? He'll block. Because you're not making a Amon-Ra St. Brown block. You're not making Gibbs line up next to the tackle. So I think it's just a function of so many weapons. And that being said, that pretty much guarantees a 5-catch, 80-yard, 1 touchdown.
I was gonna say he's going for a huge day now.
It'll come at some point.
Yeah. So Corbin, do you want to bet any of these?
No.
Okay. Ravens and the Browns. I don't know what to make with Jameis there, but like you said, he's going to air it out. So you think somebody's going over? Is it Njoku? I don't know. I don't know. Cedric Tillman?
It's a wait and see. We see it so many weeks. We'll get to it.
Okay.
One of my plays, like the Colts, like we talk about, I'm sure someone else will probably mention it, but like we have Downs coming up who has a great relationship with Flacco and looks amazing. Then suddenly Richardson and he's barely getting targeted. It's like you see it. You can't take any information that we've had from the Browns before and use it. Like it's just you don't know if he's going to throw it to Moore or to Judy or to Njoku. You just can't work it out pre-game. So
all right, I'm with you. Jim, do you like any of these?
These numbers are extremely low.
Okay.
I'm very high on the Browns in this game to make this a game. I don't think they're going to get throttled. It's just Baltimore's due for. Look, they're just coming off that huge W. I mean, this is just a letdown spot to me. You get a backup quarterback, an injured Nick Chubb. I think the Browns are going to be more successful on offense than people think. I'll take Njoku over the 57 and even sprinkle in Jerry Jeudy. We haven't seen him and Jameis together at all. Like, they're probably not even throwing to each other in practice very much. But I like to look at the second or third receivers when the backup comes in, and I think that would be Elijah Moore. So we got Njoku and Moore. I think those are two really low numbers. And who cares if Jameis throws an interception? It just means he's going to be down 7 points and has to throw again. So just let it keep going. I like the overs on the Browns receivers.
Jim,
All
if you were going to take the Browns receiver, surely would you not prefer just taking the Jameis? Like
His over?
Yeah, instead of trying to work out which one of these receivers are going to go over, would you not just rather take the passing total for him, or do you
not
prefer...
necessarily, because certain situations, I just think that the 57 on Njoku is playable by itself, and I think that the more could happen as well. If those guys get to 90 yards, I don't think that generally is going to equate to him going over. I think it's going to have to be through those two players, unless who else? Jerry Jeudy gets 100 and what does that make it? 120 yards we need from Jerry Jeudy remaining. So I get what you're saying as far as taking the Jameis over, but if the game script gets out of control, you never know. I think the big plays are coming from those two.
Packers and Jags. Corbin, can you we love Jordan Love, but it's tough to figure out.
You can't pick. It's like I look at these and I'm like I always go to Jaden Reed, but even his numbers are a bit all over the place this year. It's just we have so many options that you just got to take Love, probably on the passing touchdowns or the yards, quite honestly.
Yeah, Jim, what do you think?
I have no idea in this game. I really don't.
Love it.
I have no idea. I would be looking at Evan Ingram, but that pass defense is so good.
Colts and Texas. Yeah, Josh Downs under 38.5. He's been awful with Anthony Richardson. He's been terrible. We talked about him last week. He had 1 catch for 3 yards. A catch for 3 yards. Richardson is not progressing. He's regressing. It's an under on Downs at 38.5. You could even look at his receptions and go under.
Yeah, it's
that one as
3.5 on his receptions. I prefer his receptions to his yards this week.
Okay.
That's
I don't.
high.
I don't know where they've got 3.5 from.
Yeah, that seems really high. I really
because
like
because
that.
they're looking at averages and it's that you get the Flacco numbers that really have him average up, but he just you're right. Him and Flacco same page. Him and Richardson not even in the same library. So
That was good.
so,
I like that one.
I don't trust Tank Dell in the slightest. That being said, I'm not fading him against this Colts defense. So yeah, it's Downs under. I think that's the best play in receiving. Jets and the Patriots. Shout out to Demario Douglas for just murdering everybody's receiving prop plays. We're supposed to play. Oh, I'm sick. But don't worry, I'll start.
Yeah.
So your bets are now live, and then I'll decide that I'm sick. Corbin?
No, do not come to me with the Jets ever again.
Jim, what do you think?
You're gonna hate me for having plays in this game, aren't you, Corbin?
Yes.
Give me Hunter Henry against our banged up no safeties that haven't played all season. He has I was all over Henry when they played Jacksonville, bad secondary, and went over pretty easy. So I think this is Hunter Henry again. Obviously, he's got a rapport with Drake May. We've said it before too, Andy. Even with the injuries, the strength of the Jets defense is on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to running backs and to tight ends. And we lock down number one receivers. That's what our defense does. So I will very gladly take the tight end to go over the middle at 35. His receptions, if they're under 4, are we at 4.5 or 3.5?
Let's see here.
We'll find out in a minute.
So we're looking for Hunter Henry 3.5 at plus 105.
Love the 3.5. Absolutely love the 3.5 at plus money. I think we get scorched by tight ends.
Jim, I'm coming back to you with Eagles and Bengals because Corbin, same game parlays the receivers. I'll let him talk about that then. What do you think about these guys?
Let's go over to our totals, please. Yards. I think the ball's going to get thrown around. It's going to have to. I mean, Barkley's going to get his work. We know that. We know that the Bengals are going to try to run the ball with Chase Brown. They're going to try. But at some point, the passing happens. I have never been able to figure out the Bengals statistically in their passing game. If I pick T. Higgins, I'm wrong. If I pick Chase, I'm wrong. So I'm out as far as that goes. Other than that, A.J. Brown, if you think that he's going to make that one big play, it seems like that's coming. I think that number at 80 might be a little bit high for this game. I expect Hurts to struggle a little bit. I don't think he makes the big play. I'd be interested in A.J. under 79.5.
Yeah, I like A.J. Brown over. Bengals just give up big plays in the secondary. It seems like the kind of guy that will catch 2 long jump balls. Actually, the one thing that could kill an over on A.J. Brown is a pass interference on one of those long. We got beat bad on Alec Pierce. Yep. We had him to go over his yards when he just torched the guy guarding him, and he was wide open for an 80-yard touchdown. The guy just reach out, grabs him, and yanks him down, and we don't get credit for the pass because it goes down as a pass interference.
Before we move on, I just want to mention, you slightly touched on that. AJ Brown, longest reception over 27.5. He has longs of 41, 40, and 67 this year.
Absolutely.
He's so hard to stop. Like, he's so powerful. Bengals secondary, I don't see who stops him, quite honestly. So
nobody. All right, this one is a polarizing game for receivers, Buccaneers and the Falcons. Jim, so we're looking at K. Dotton, we're looking at Jalen McMillan. I got to be honest, this Rachaad White at 20.5, only 20.5 on Rachaad White. What are we doing? He's going to be one of their number one options in the passing game. That's where I'm going. What do you think?
I agree. I like that better than the Otten number. To me, it's K. Dotton and Rachaad White. Me and Andy, we obviously, you all know we had a play on Baker Mayfield in that game for the 2 touchdowns. So we're watching it and texting it. And as soon as the injury happens to Godwin, what do we say? It's Otten and White.
Otten and White time.
That's it. the 20.5 seems criminally low.
Yeah.
He had
Especially with
71
the
last
injury to
week.
his backup. What's that, Corbin?
He had 71 on 6 receptions last week.
Out of the
all on the
back.
same play.
Sign me up.
20.5 receiving, I'm in. Cade Otton, 44.5, I'm in. McMillan, not so much. I'm not going to be looking to go there until he shows that he can do something. What's the receptions totals in this game?
Let's take a look at the
I hate
White's
to say that.
3.5 receptions. Drake London, I have at 5.5.
See, that doesn't even add. If Rashad White catches 4 passes, he's going over 20 and a half.
Yeah.
Because one of those passes is going to be a 12-yard
Mhm.
screen or something. So
He only has to average 5 yards a pass.
yeah, and he does that. He does it all the time.
So the Cade Otton 4.5. I mean, where's the volume going to go?
Austin had 8 receptions last week.
Yeah, I actually for receptions, I actually like the McMillan 3.5. He can't get 1 a quarter. I mean, he had, what do you have, 8 targets last week? Gets a full week of practice with
A lot of
Baker.
targets.
That's a ton of targets. So, and I don't know. I mean, are the Falcons gonna we got to take away Jalen McMillan?
They're drawing up the plans on the whiteboards right now, Andy.
You cannot let Jalen McMillan beat us. Yeah, that's I like Rashad White over 20.5. I think if we're just trying to keep it really simple, God, that one's a good one. So. Tyler Algier has been catching at least 1 pass out of the backfield. I will throw that out at minus 220. I don't know where this started, but he can catch all of a sudden. So, Cardinals and the Dolphins. All right, Corbin, the floor is yours.
Oh, it's annoying because I went the first player I looked at this week was the Waddle, and I love it still at 4.5. I love his yards. I prefer Waddle to Tyreek Hill just because of the lower totals, but they kind of feel in the right place also. Like they're kind of already expecting them both to have a good game. I may look to alt Waddle's receptions and yards together through FanDuel. Always just does the better price when you're trying to do those kind of things, but longest reception for Waddle is probably I'm gonna have to probably play it just for myself. So
okay. Jim, do you like any of the receiving props?
I mean, the yard. Would you say that the yards are accurate across the board for the Dolphins, factoring them to a return?
For the Dolphins, yes.
Like they just reset the book and set it back to what they did before Tua got put out.
Yes.
So I think that's a bit of a whim. They're guessing. I do think they luck out that they're playing the Cardinals, and I think these numbers go over. I like what Corbin was saying about the receptions. I agree. I think the fourth quarter is going to be the running game, but they're going to get theirs before against this Cardinals defense.
Yeah, I have regretted not fading Marvin Harrison after he had that monster. He had that 130-yard 2-touchdown game against the Rams. And then he followed up with 64 yards against Detroit, but since then 45, 36, 0, he gets hurt in 21. I don't know. It hasn't clicked yet for them on that team. So we're going to look at that. Bills and the Seahawks. Yeah, no DK Metcalf. We always joke about well, you can never figure it out if it's Lockett or Metcalf. Okay. No Metcalf, Corbin. Does that mean it's Lockett here or what?
Not for me. I think if anything that might actually hurt Lockett because they're gonna just target him. I think they're also. I already mentioned it. I think Kenneth Walker's gonna have a running game. I don't know how much the Seahawks are gonna be throwing it.
Yeah.
I kind of like. I have 2 plays in this game for similar reasons. I kind of like the Keon Coleman over 2.5 receptions and 30.5 yards. They both seem like quite low totals. I know the Seahawks pass defense isn't bad. He's gone over in 3 of the last 4, and he's coming off that great game where he had 7 targets, 4 receptions, and 125 yards. I really think Cooper coming is going to help the other receivers blossom. Because I feel like Cooper's the one they're going to look for straight away. He's going to be the main guy they look for, and it just gives so much less pressure and more space to the others. Shakir over 3.5 receptions is another one that I'm looking at. He's over in 4 of the last 5. So I think Coleman and Shakir receptions are probably the ones I'm most looking at on this board.
Jim?
Well, like I said, I'm I'm going to stay away from this game. I want to see what the offense does. But if I had to pick one bet, I'm going to take James Cook over 13.5 receiving. That could be 2 catches. He's lined at 2 catches.
Yeah.
I know the new shiny toys are there, but I'll take reliable at 13.5. That's going to be one screenplay.
Saints and Chargers, Olave under 49.5. I don't trust Spencer Rattler. Olave coming back from injury. There's a chance the Saints could have the ball 24 minutes. There's absolutely that possibility where the Chargers just hold the ball the entire game. Other than that, I'm not really interested in receiving props. Corbin?
No.
Jim?
Nothing in this game.
Chiefs and Raiders. Corbin?
Yes.
Bowers?
No. I'm going for Madison over 16.5. I talked about it last week and it hit really well. So if I read you his last 3 totals, 31, 32, and 23, the Chiefs are going to be ahead. They're throwing Madison the ball. He's getting at least 2 or 3, if not more, receptions every game. This is such a low total. I think he had a long of that went near this last week. I remember because I ended up betting it. It's just such a low total. I really love it. They're just throwing it. They don't have the options to throw anyone else the ball. Other than Bowers, they don't have anyone else. They're always down. They're going to be down again. It's like,
yeah. Bowers is amazing, man. 10 catches, 93 yards last week. But you're right about Madison. 3 for 31. He had an 18-yard catch last week.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty good look.
That's my second favorite play on the board.
I'll be honest. I'm not penciling in the Chiefs to blow. The Chiefs aren't blowing anybody out these days. They can't score 30 points, even against the Raiders. So I like the Madison look. I think that's a good one. Jim, what do you think?
Stick with that. I have no strong opinions.
Panthers and the Broncos. This is just a gigantic game of no thank you.
Agreed.
I would take the under on Cortland Sutton. I dropped him in a fantasy league and somebody went and picked him up and I was like, you have all the fun with Cortland effing Sutton. That guy was healthy, played the entire game and had 0 catches. I know it's a great matchup for him, but I don't know. I'm not playing any of these. What do you think, Corbs?
No. I think it's rushing props. I think we've covered it in the other sections are far better than trying to work out what either team we're going to do in the passing game.
Nothing in the passing game.
Bears and the Commanders. Corbin, any of these?
Nope. So I just can't touch this game until I know the quarterback. So
Jim, same.
I think this Cole Kmet number's low. I think it's really low. He's becoming a really mainstream target for Caleb Williams. I know we have DJ Moore. He's the sexy one on the outside, but let's not forget about these tight ends. Tight ends were doing nothing the beginning of the season, and they've come on over the past few weeks. It seems like when teams start getting cluster injuries, then you get quarterbacks that they're inaccurate, and it gets colder, they start going to the bigger body receivers, and that's your tight ends. Against this Washington secondary, 3-4 catches, that probably clears pretty easy.
Yeah, Commanders give up over 40 yards, or just right at 40 yards to tight ends every game. So, all right, let's take a look at Cowboys and 49ers. Again, here's a whole lot of seriously, look, all of these guys combined is 12, 9, 36, 40, 55, and 75. That's barely 200 yards total worth of receiving props that somebody's going over. Corbin, who is it?
None of these. I can't pick. It's like I don't want to trust either of them. So
all right, Jim.
I'm waiting for Ezekiel Elliott's receiving props to drop.
Oh,
because they don't want to give him carries. So if I could get half a reception or 1.5, I'm dead serious. He's gonna get a touch somehow because again, we still don't know what he has on Jerry Jones, but he has something. So that's also something I've looked at live in game. If it goes down to a half a reception, they give him one of these BS dump offs once a game just to make him feel good. It gets 1 yard, and then he goes back to the bench. That's what happens.
How's your gambling day going? Well, I'm waiting for Ezekiel Elliott reception props to drop.
It's got to be 1.
No,
1.5 if he gets one early, but I'll wait and see.
I'd take a sprinkle on Jalen Tolbert, 36.5, 87 and 43 the last couple weeks. So,
I wish I could have
what
him to drop a pass instead. Jeez.
drop a
Corbin,
pass.
soon.
What's Tolbert's receptions here? Because if it's 2.5, I think I'm interested. It is 3.5 at plus money. Figured
Jeez.
that out. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys, hit the like button. Let's do some same game parlays. Let's do some alt lines, and we'll do set props, and then we are all done. Corbin, you want to go with your alt play of the week here?
Yeah, we can. So we were just touching on Ezekiel Elliott. I'm taking him alt under 35.5 yards rushing. He is getting absolutely nowhere near this. He hasn't gone over 20 since week 1. Yeah, he's not getting to 35.5. I don't need to explain that. I'm taking the Lions -3. Titans are a dumpster fire. Lions have far too much offense. They need to keep winning. The division's red hot. They just got to keep winning. And -3 covers them if they somehow only manage by a field goal. So I'll take that. And then Cousins to throw for 200 plus. He's done it in 6 straight. I mentioned before I like him at his normal total, which I think was like 244 or something. Great matchup versus the Bucks. He threw for over 500 versus them earlier in the year. I'm going to take all 3 of those pieces for -132.
Nice. I like it. Let's do.
I can't believe they even gave me an alt total on Zeke that high.
It's
quite
pretty.
honestly.
It's a pretty big one here. Let's do your same game parlay. We're going to the Eagles and the Bengals. What do you think?
Yeah, so I kind of liked all these guys at their normal totals, as I mentioned, but this just fits really well together. We've mentioned, so firstly we have I'll kind of do the first 3 bits all together. So we have Higgins 4+ receptions, Chase to have 4+ receptions, and Chase to have 40+ yards. The Eagles secondary is just not great. I think there's real high scoring potential from both teams, quite honestly. I think both defenses are really not good. So Higgins had 4 receptions last week, but still got 8 targets against a Browns good defense. He's cleared 4+ receptions in all but 1 game this year. Chase has cleared 4 receptions in every game except the one versus the Panthers, where he just wasn't really needed. He has 40 in all but 1 game. Again, Eagles secondary, I think he's easily going to get to 40. And then AJ Brown just to have 40+ receiving yards. He's had 89, 116, and 119. I can't quite remember, but I was talking about his longest reception. I think his longest each game has also cleared this now that I'm saying it. So yeah, I love all of that. Wrap all of that up for -118. So
love it. Nice same game parlay. Jim, let's do inside the trenches here. You're going to talk about one game, the Patriots and the Jets here.
So a lot going on here. The return of Hassan Reddick. Now, we've seen this happen a million times where these guys hold out throughout the season. They come in week 7, week 8, a lot of hype, a lot of buzz, and they fall flat on their face. I pulled my hamstring.
Yeah, I'm not in
now
shape.
I'm out, right? So the big acquisition now is on the sideline just taking up money. I want to fill you guys in on the situation. The contract that Reddick has signed is a mainly reworked incentive-based contract. It is purely incentives. So they waived his whatever 20 million in fines, whatever it was that he had. But they gave him a short-term contract that's very incentive-based, meaning that it's snaps played and it's sacks. So I think that this man is already shown to be selfish, and he's going to still be selfish and want to get his incentives and not really play the game. That makes me worry about the Jets' run defense. I already said I like Ramondre Stevenson. I think he goes over. I haven't seen the excel play from Quinnen Williams at defensive tackle. The Jets have a star pass rusher in Will McDonald, who I believe is 2nd in the league in sacks right now. He's just got ridiculous speed off the edge. He's going to get there on Drake May. Now, on the opposite side, Drake May has made this offensive line better. It is a totally different unit than when Jacoby Brissett was there. And I know we're on 3rd, 4th, 5th string players, but he's getting rid of the ball faster. He's quicker. He's more athletic. So don't be in such a rush to fade this offensive line for the Patriots because I think they're playing way better than they were with Drake May. So a couple things I think I'm looking out for in this game is to see who's going to hold up in the pass rush. And I do believe that the Jets are in trouble on the ground.
All right. There's your Patriots and Jets inside the trenches. And of course, this week now, we had the sack department. It went to Corbin's. Now it's back to Jim's sack department. You're going Hendrickson. Nice price, -120. What do we like?
Yeah, it's a good price on half a sack. I just want one play here. Corbin went 3-0 last week. Couldn't be happier for him. Hopefully you guys tailed those plays. But now I got some work to do. I got to catch up. It's going to be permanently Corbin sack props. So we're going to go with Hendrickson at -120. He is the only pass rusher. Okay, he is the only pass rusher. I think he's going to get there. We saw the Giants be all over Jalen Hurts last week, and that was without Thibodeau. So that wasn't a full strength offensive line. That rush over the left tackle, I believe Jordan Mailata is still out, right? So they lost their big left tackle, and Hurts just hasn't looked right. Hendrickson is like that annoying mosquito on the back of your neck. He's just there the whole game. We've seen it in blowouts. We've seen it in games where they blow people out. He gets his stats. So give me Hendrickson just to get a half a sack.
I love it. I love it. So, all right. That is going to do it for us today. Thanks, guys, very much for joining us. Don't forget NFL Week 8 pack that comes with all of our plays, including Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. Go ahead and lock those plays in wt.buzz/AL7-2 the last 3 weeks. If you could hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that now. All right. That's going to do it for us, guys. Good luck on our place, and we'll see you everyone later.
Good luck.
See you later.